Welcome to episode 2 of Barbell Conversations, where real men have real conversations about their mental health. So, this episode, we have Nthside Fitness co-owner Josh Varrasso speak about his battles with depression and anxiety. So, Josh has spent some time in hospital for his depression and anxiety, but with the support of his wife Olivia and his 2 young daughters, Billie and Sloan, Josh discusses how he lives with his mental illness and manages his depression and anxiety while being a father, a husband, and a business owner. Enjoy. I'm here with Josh from Nthside Fitness. So just a quick story on Josh and kind of my thoughts on his mentality. I can't remember when it was, but we were doing this workout. Josh jumped into the class one day and we were doing a workout, and I thought to myself, I've got him on this workout. It's in my wheelhouse. I think it was high volume wall balls, which I love, and light hang power snatches. And I'm thinking I can get him on this. I'm going to go as hard as I can to beat him. And he hadn't been to the gym for a while, so I thought I've got him on this. He's a bit unconditioned, and he did come up to me at the start and kind of say, I'm going to take it easy on this workout. So anyway, 3, 2, 1, off we go, and I went as hard as I could. Absolutely smashed it. I thought, if under 10 minutes, I'll be able to get this done. And then at one point, Josh kind of looks over at me and sees that I'm going pretty hard. I'm huffing, I'm puffing, but I'm pushing. And he just had this kind of, I like to think of it as a Michael Jordan mentality, where you just look and go, I'm not having this guy beat me. I'm not having him beat me. And it's like he just flicked a switch in his head and he just went for it. Anyway, long story short, he ends up beating me. I'm sprawled out on the ground because I've never gone so hard in a workout. And he kind of steps over me and looks at me and goes, you almost had me on that one. So I guess when I kind of found out Josh had his mental health battles, at first I didn't believe it because of that mentality, but I guess it's probably a good segue into the end of last year with your mental demons. Did you kind of want to tell us a little bit about that?
The end of last year, it's kind of when everything, I guess, came out for me. I think I've been battling with depression for a while, but I think just the build-up of a lot of things going on in my life. Last year, just the end of last year, or middle to end of last year was when it all came out. I remember the day specifically where it just wasn't a good day. And I took the 6 a.m. class. It was a conditioning class, and we lived next door at that time. And I remember just going through the motions of that class, and it was a 40-minute workout, so I had a lot of time to think to myself. And I would just walk up and down while trying to coach the class, and I was going through a lot of thoughts in my head at that time. And basically, I remember after taking the 6 and 7 o'clock class, I messaged my partner, my wife Liv, and I said that I am really struggling and that I don't want to be here anymore, basically. And that's when things kind of really kicked off with what I went through over that part of my life and leading up until now, because I obviously still battle with it. But the main trigger when I thought I had something going on was when my partner Liv, she was in hospital for postnatal depression.
Yeah.
And I had to look after Billie because she was in there with Sloan, our second baby girl. And that's when basically I knew something was wrong, because I had a lot of problems going on. I had a lot of thoughts going on, and I felt really alone. And that's basically when it kicked off.
So I know it got quite serious with the CAT team. So for you guys that don't know, the CAT team, so it's a critical assessment treatment team that basically they come in and do an assessment on someone's mental health, usually to the point where they have shown suicidal thoughts and kind of had those thoughts. Did you kind of want to maybe go through the process with the CAT team and then what kind of came out of their assessment?
Yeah, so the CAT team, they're a very good, they're a very good organisation, I guess, that help a lot of people in a lot of different ways. I got involved with the CAT team through attempting suicide, and Liv caught me. I remember that day specifically as well. I was having a quite a down day. Liv and I had a bit of an argument beforehand about a couple of things, and just leading up into that, I haven't really spoken much about that with Liv at the time, and basically I was just in a really bad way, and I remember saying goodbye to my kids because Liv was taking them out on the day. So yeah, I remember saying goodbye to them, and as soon as they left, Liv kind of figured something wasn't right with me at the time, and I remember she was dropping Billy off at my dad's house, which was just around the corner, and she had an appointment with Sloan. And my dad's house is probably 2 minutes away, 3 minutes away. Yeah. And basically, as soon as they left, I got things ready for an attempt, basically. And I remember she called me at just the right time, and I don't know what made me pick up the phone. I just picked up the phone, and she said, "Right, I'm coming over to check up on you."
Yep.
And then from that point, I remember the police came over. I was taken to hospital in an ambulance. And then from there I stayed at Papu, which is at the Austin Hospital. It's a mental health short stay,
yep,
basically. And then from there I got involved with the CAT team. So what the CAT team did for me is they're basically a support network that checks up on you basically every day.
Yep.
So they'll come over once I got out of Papu, which was a short stay. They'll come over my house every day, sometimes twice a day, depending on how I'm feeling, and just check up on me, run through what I'm feeling on the day, and things like that. And that's when they started prescribing me some medications and things like that to deal with my anxiety. But basically, they're there to support you, lean on, support your partners as well. Obviously, they're going through a tough time with everything that's going on, especially because we had two young kids. Well, we've got two young kids, and they're there for a support network that come over and basically show support when you're down and out, really.
Yeah. So at the end of last year, you actually had a stint in a mental health hospital. Did you want to tell us about that and kind of what that involved and the treatment that you got in there?
Yeah. So after following the Austin, when I was at Papu, which was a short stay, I was in there for about a week. Yeah. And then from there, they try and move you on. If they think you're okay, they'll try and move you on to be at home, and the CAT team will look after you. Or if they think you need some further assistance, they obviously send you to a hospital, which I went to in Bandura. And from there, it's basically where I got linked up with psychologists and psychiatrists, and a little bit of a support network as well. So I was in the hospital for about, I'd say a month, maybe a bit over a month. Where what they do in there is they give you medication for your depression. They basically assess you and see, what your thoughts are, what you think on a day-to-day basis, how you react to certain situations, and things like that. And it's a time for you just to go and get away from the day-to-day activity, and sort of relax your body. Just because with depression, I think everybody suffers their own kind of depression. Is what I've gathered from it. I don't think a lot of people suffer from the same type. For me, it's a mental battle with my brain, basically every day. So it's very emotionally and mentally tiring for me, daily, just fighting myself basically.
Yeah.
And so the hospital just provided me a place to rest, and just think about a few things and basically recover and have regular checkups.
Yeah.
With a psychiatrist. And basically allow my body to settle down and set up a plan of what I need to do when I basically leave.
So at the hospital you had day release, and I know a lot of the times during that day release you'd come here, you'd come to the gym. What did the gym kind of mean to you, working out, mean to you when you had the opportunity you were straight back here?
Yeah, so the gym, obviously I love the gym, that's why I own one, I guess, but just coming to the gym, it's kind of my safe haven. I get away from everything from the gym. I'm around people that, some people don't know anything about me, or they might think I'm perfectly fine, and which I kind of like in a way. And then there's some people that know the background pretty well. So just coming to the gym, it just frees me from everything. It just frees me from my thoughts and things like that. When you're doing a workout, especially something that gets your heart rate, quite high, it just channels everything else out, and the only thing you're thinking about is, how you're going to get through the workout. So that's the main reason I love training, and just being around people, and I love talking shit.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. That's so just being around people, talking shit, and just having fun with a group of people. Even when I didn't come in and I couldn't be bothered training, I'd still come in. I think the Open was on at that time.
Yeah.
And it was just fun to come in and support. And at that time I wasn't coaching for quite a while, and I even had a lot of members come up to me and notice the wristband I had on my wrist, and they would just quietly ask if I was okay, and they didn't know the story.
Yeah.
They would just quietly ask if I was okay, and just little things like that. It means a lot, especially when you're going through what I was going through. So the gym. I can't speak. I know it's my gym, but I can't speak highly enough of it. It's just a place where people can come and just forget about what's going on in their day for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just train, talk with their friends. You can talk as deep as you want with your friends. I guess it's just how friends are, and and then you feel a lot better at the end of it. You get your endorphins up. And you carry on with your day, and even for me, just carrying on for my day, that might last me 2 hours, but I'll be great for that 2 hours. And 2 hours, people might be like, oh, well, that's not a massive amount of time, but it is when you're going through some tough times. So
For you guys that don't know, the boys at Nthside had moved into this new facility. It was at the start of the year, so pretty exciting times to kind of get this up and going, and something that they've worked really hard for. So I can imagine when COVID came around and government kind of told you boys you've got to shut down, that probably would have taken a pretty big hit for you. So moving into this place was it was tough at the time, just because I just got out of hospital. Actually, I was still in hospital whilst building this place. So Tommy, my business partner, he basically ran, and Julia at the time basically ran, and yourself ran Next Door coaching.
full time, and I was basically in here. So some of my day trips out of hospital I'd spend in here, building in here. So during that time, obviously excited because we've got into a facility that we've always wanted to build, basically.
Yeah.
So it's an exciting time, but stressful time at the same time. And then, finally, once we rolled over into here and just started getting going, we're obviously waiting for a permit and things like that, so we still had a little bit more stress. But getting into here, it was fantastic. It's what we always wanted to be in, and we wanted to grow. We want to be able to grow in here, and that's kind of when COVID hit. So we were only probably a month or 2 months into this new place, and kind of just getting it set out the way we want. And then COVID came along, which obviously put a bit of a hump in the tracks, I guess. And once we knew we were going to shut down during this period, we didn't know if we'll be able to reopen. Just financially, we've spent so much money in here. It's just at the wrong time. So I remember having our last class, I think it was at 10 a.m. and Tommy broke down crying because he basically didn't know if we'll be back in here, and it was just a bit of a tough time, and just not knowing your future, not knowing where anything lies. Obviously the government didn't give much at the time, and they didn't give much during the whole COVID thing till basically right at the end, really. So lucky for us, we're one of the lucky places to get some government grants and things like that, just to help us get through this time. But we're lucky to open up on the 22nd. If you pushed it out for another 2 months or so, we might not be reopening, basically. So things got pretty tight, but we managed to get through.
And how did that play with your kind of depression and mental illness?
So the gym, that's a good question. So the gym, I felt like I didn't have to worry as much at the time. I've got fantastic business partners in Tom and his wife Sarah, and they provide a lot of support for me, and obviously the gym. And I knew they would be, on top of those little things, those bits and pieces that we needed to get through this time. How COVID affected me in my home life was totally different. That's taken a bit of a hit. I've struggled with COVID mentally, just with the home life.
Yeah.
But now that I can kind of see a light towards the end of the tunnel to get back in here and try and get some routine back in my life, and clear things up, I'm looking forward to doing that. But yeah, so with the business, I feel like I didn't have to stress, just because I know I've got great business partners and we communicate well.
Yeah.
We haven't had any dramas. We've been open for 4 years. We haven't had any dramas with each other. Me and Tommy, we get along really well. I knew this would be looked after. It's just the family stuff was tough.
Yeah.
Just because you're spending so much time with. I know it's your partner, but you're just spending so much time with them, and little things get in the way, and it makes it hard. So, but yeah, that's how COVID's basically affected me. I've had some down days with COVID.
Yeah.
I won't go too far into that. Just knowing that the gym's going to open on the 22nd, that's what I'm looking forward to. Get back into life.
You've mentioned a couple of times your beautiful wife, Liv, and your 2 daughters, Billie and Sloan. What role do they play with your mental health? And how important are they to your mental health?
Sometimes it's challenging, and most of the time it's great, to be honest. I love all three of them a huge amount. If it wasn't for Olivia, number one, this gym wouldn't be running, because she helped me a significant amount at the start. Number two, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Olivia. So basically, I owe her my life because she's been by my side through thick and thin. And my two girls, funny enough, I've always wanted girls. I never wanted boys. I don't know why. I think I just get along with girls better than what I do with guys. And I got two beautiful girls that basically get me through some really dark times in my life, because I think about them a lot. Those three in my life, they're never going to leave my life. They're always going to be in there. And I can't say enough about them, what they do for me internally. Even though I know sometimes it gets hard at home and stuff like that. You have to be mentally switched on with kids all the time, especially toddlers. It gets exhausting. It puts a lot of strain on relationships and things like that. But you try and figure things or ways to get through those tough times. And I can't say enough about them, really.
It's a pretty heavy story that you shared. Like, as I said, I knew some of it, but I probably didn't know the whole story. And I know I speak for myself, but I'm sure I speak for a lot of the other members that we absolutely love coming here, and we love the energy. As you mentioned, the trash talk in the gym is probably one of the best parts about coming here, but you kind of know it comes from a good place. And Josh and Tom have created that environment in the gym that you can come and you can, if you've had a bad day at work, they'll listen and they'll talk to you about it. They'll hang out after class. So, again, I'll speak for myself, but I'm sure I'll speak for the rest of the guys that we love the gym and can't wait for us to get back. But yeah, really appreciate you sharing your story today, and hopefully it gives people the confidence. You showing your vulnerability gives other people the confidence and the courage to show theirs. So thank you.